Welcome back to Madame Tortuga's Lounge with your host, the neurodivergent, mentally ill, non-binary, polypan, pagan Pisces, Dottie the Psychic, a Metro Valley Pagan Pride affiliate. Hello, my dotlings, and welcome to another episode of Shameless Self-Promotion with
Reverend Oliver Snow from Mothman Ministries.
I feel like gets people every single time. Like, I started doing that because I'm always a little terrified of mispronouncing people's names. And I'm not even talking like names that an Appalachian mouth can't wrap themselves around. I mean, like calling Jim Jerry and...
Yeah, no, I'm awful with names too. I've made whole friends and like told people about them, and I'm like, oh man, I made a new friend, and you know, they're into gaming or cosplay or whatever it is, and then people will be like, okay, but what's their name? And I'm like,
I know they have one. I know they have one.
You have one, yeah.
So, tell us a little bit, before we get started, tell us a little bit about Mothman Ministries and how people can get involved.
So, Mothman Ministries is an interfaith mutual aid group. We do some level of ministry, and mostly I'm online. I work through TikTok, I work through YouTube, and it's very queer focused, and kind of about bringing queer people back to the divine, because in so many different places we have been excluded from having access to the divine, or included in spaces where people were practicing certain religions. And it's about bringing queer people back into the fold, to reconnect with God or gods, nature, spirituality, and discover that at their own pace and heal at their own pace.
Okay, so folks, this is going to be kind of an interesting one. I know that you told me that you're actually a Quaker, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I am a Quaker. Do you want to? Were you wanting to know what that was? What we do? We're very unconventional Quakers. I will say that. Of course, my cat's knocking things down already. We just started the episode, and she's like knocking things down on the counter.
We stand
cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you hear any banging and or meowing, just know that's where it's coming from. So
this is kind of like, because this episode, I feel like it's very on brand because I know that it's an interfaith ministry.
It is, yes.
But I really appreciate the queer outreach.
Yeah. We pretty much everyone within the core group of Mothman Ministries is some flavor of queer person, and a lot of what we do is try to encourage queer people to get back into a connection with the divine, whatever that might look like, whether you're pagan, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, because for so long queer people were kind of excluded from these religious spaces in a lot of ways. And I think that in order to, we live in a very isolated time, and something that religion and religious spaces have always created is a place for community in one way or another, a place where people can gather, they can get to know each other, and they can kind of build mutual trust and love amongst each other. And so that's a lot of what Mothman Ministries is about, as well as like a community outreach aspect, giving food to the homeless. For a while, we were doing sack lunch outreaches. We may be partnering with another organization for that, just to increase our number of volunteers. But we're for a long time doing sack lunch outreaches, and we will be starting up services and outreach again sometime next month. because we took the summer off because everybody's at the pride parades and all the college students are out of town. So we were just like, you know what, let's reconfigure for the summer and we'll get back to it starting in the fall. So we will be coming back well rested and swinging.
So yeah, I know you guys are based out of Huntington, but you've been on like YouTube and TikTok for a long time now.
Yes, I've been in the content creation world in some flavor or another for 6, 7 years now. Got like a pretty major following around 5 years ago during the pandemic. Um, because everybody was online and a
Right.
lot of a lot of influencers ended up and content creators ended up making their careers during that time. So that was kind of when I came up in the business.
Yeah, that's funny because that's about the time that I really started getting serious about Dottie the Psychic. Some of my best stuff was made in like the middle of the plague.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it I was not doing the same kind of content I am now. I have rebranded several times. But like when I first started making content, I was still a girl too. So like um I completely changed genders over the course of making content. So that definitely had changed how I had to approach things, you know.
Yeah, actually, I think I started watching you right there on the line. Like you were
Yeah,
definitely going into boy mode, but I think we were very they.
yeah, we were very they. Yes. I was very like yeah, she they when I first started making content, and then it was that slow gradual progression, sorry, the slow gradual progression into like they them territory, and eventually like I'm just like, okay, it's time to take hormones, like that's just where we're at. So
Isn't that the way it goes though? Like I never got to the hormones. I know I told you this story, but I actually had considered transitioning. There's like one episode of on my Dottie the Psychic. I did a Mercury in retrograde video where I did masculine drag as
oh
Mercury.
yeah,
I'm like that was like
that was my intro as well. I am a drag performer. I will say that I do like girl and boy drag under the name The Reverend. So I do drag as well, and I that was actually how I started content creation. Was doing I was a drag king, and it was this weird slow progression of like I was being a drag king and kind of playing as this preacher character. And then people like I had a lot of young people because I was on TikTok, and they would come to me for all of this advice, like life advice and all of this, and feeling disconnected from spirituality and feeling lonely. And eventually like things kind of just progressed in a way where the persona stopped being a persona and I was just a preacher then, because I was like, oh well, I'm doing the whole job description at this point. Like, and I was an atheist when I started in content creation, and eventually I was just like, I'm feeling really called in this kind of strange direction I never thought I would go in. So it's probably best that I like figure out what it is I believe and believe in. And so I opened the Bible back up again, and I was like, oh, this is like a lot of this when put into its historical context is like folklore, like very revolutionary folklore, about like what it means to be human, to love your neighbor, to treat each other with radical kindness. And so much of that had just been lost by the church. And I was like, this is folklore that feels in many ways at its heart incredibly queer, because built for it was a religion originally intended for an oppressed people. And so when you take it out of that context, it stops making sense.
Well, I mean, the church probably doesn't want everybody to know that their guy on a stick was a radical leftist.
Yeah. I mean, like you could definitely draw parallels to socialism through the figure of Jesus Christ in many ways. And queer identity. You have someone who, as far as we know, never married a woman. Had 12 male friends that he just kind of hung around with. And it was very much expected for him at the time as a rabbi to get married, to have a family. And he kind of stepped outside of the gender norms and sexuality norms of his time. And in that way, I would not feel comfortable saying Jesus was gay because we don't know. But I will say that Jesus was queer because he did step outside of the gender and sexuality expectations of his time period.
Nice. So, because Olly and I have been friends for a while now, so I know some of the stuff that like prompt you on.
Yes.
Which is great because I do like sometimes I'll just get people on here, we just like burst into conversation, but I actually know things I want to bring up, like especially like the Mothman bean story.
Okay. All
And
right.
you're going to be telling the story till the day you're going to be telling the story on your deathbed. This needs to
Yes, I
go in
really am.
biography.
It will never die.
And
It'll
it
be
never
that one.
should.
It'll be that one and how I sent a twink in New Orleans off with no pants from a hotel room. Yeah, it'll be those. So the bean story. All right. So I was kind of early on in mutual aid stuff, um, and we decided to start building these blessing boxes. Right. We took like repurposed dressers and stuff from like the Restore or Goodwill or whatever. And we would make sure that they were like weather treated and all of that, and we would make them into blessing boxes that people could bring food or whatever supplies people may need and put in there to share with the community. And we'd put those up in several different places. And one of the places we put them up was we put one right near the Mothman statue because there was a trend on TikTok at the time of people bringing beans to the Mothman statue. Right, I did not start this trend. It had become a trend, and the beans were kind of overtaking the statue because there was nowhere to put them. So we were like, if we, put a blessing box out there, then not only will people still be bringing the beans, they'll be bringing other things that they can then share with the community. Like it's encouragement to bring something other than beans to the Mothman statue for people to share. So we put this thing out there. The mayor did not understand the meme, was very upset. Very upset about the beans, very upset about the blessing box because he felt it encouraged the beans. And so he sent 5 men. Now okay, I get it. I'm a big boy, right? I took that blessing box out there myself. He had 5 grown adult men come out and remove that thing. And it was very funny. It got caught on the Mothman cam. And it was like these 5 like good old boys coming out to remove this little tiny like blessing box from behind the Mothman statue. And it was the funniest thing. And I posted the video of them removing it on the internet. And my followers got very upset about this. And so they started sending packages of beans to the mayor's office, which just freaked him out even more. And he started sending cease and desist letters to the return addresses on these packages of beans. Because it was a threatening amount of beans. He described it as a threatening amount of beans. And then that was kind of the beginning of the like preacher of the Church of Mothman stuff, and the beginning honestly of like Mothman Ministries as a whole, because people started calling me like the preacher of the Church of Mothman after all of this happened. And I was like, that's really funny. And so I started I got like a clerical collar and all of that, and I got like enough ordination that I could at least like marry people, you know what I mean? And then yeah. So I did all of that, and then I people started like, because I was wearing the clerical collar, they started like kind of treating me. It was like the collar in and of itself kind of like commanded that authority. And so they just started like coming to me with like spiritual problems and their kind of like religious trauma and stuff like that. And eventually I was helping so many people, and I was doing this outreach in the community. And I was like, this is everything a preacher actually does. Like, this is the job description, you know? Um, and so I then ended up looking more into the Bible. And I just, once I took off with it, I couldn't stop learning. It was like there was a drive in me to decode this book that I felt that had been misunderstood by the church for so long, and that had hurt so many people because of those misunderstandings, either accidentally or deliberately.
So, I don't know if we mentioned it or not, because I know we kind of did a restart on the video. But can you tell us a little bit more about your particular denomination? Because I think people think it's disappeared, because we think of.
Yeah, so I'm a Quaker, and I am an unconventional Quaker. I will say this right off the bat. Um, I'm a very unconventional Quaker. Um, there's a lot of Quakers that are, so first off, Quakers are have always been on the leftist side of things, right? We tend to be pacifists. We tend to be very involved in social justice. We were some of the first abolitionists in this country. And so, like,
Also, my
there
favorite,
was,
like, non-binary icon, the
yes,
universal friend.
we had the public universal friend. We had non-binary ministers back in like the 1700s. Which ministry in Quakerism in and of itself is a bit odd, because I am a reverend, not the reverend. Everyone is, you know, everyone kind of is to each other. Everyone can deliver some sort of testimony. Anyone can take the pulpit. I just tend to be the guy organizing things. Um, and I like writing sermons, and people like hearing me yap. So
You know, I get that. That's kind of, I mean, that is the career of the YouTuber, is it not?
yeah, professional yapper. Well, it's the career of a preacher too. That's the thing. There's not the line between preacher, poet, and content creator gets increasingly blurry as time goes on.
Right. And, you know, because like you start out, and it is funny because this is certainly something that I have noticed in my career. I started out as a professional psychic, and realistically, that is a neutral thing. You can be as far right or as far left and still consider yourself a witch or a psychic. I think all pagans should be leftists, but not all pagans are, you know?
I think all Christians should be leftists too, but you know, that's the way
Obviously.
it is. Yeah, obviously not. Obviously, that is
Obviously
not the way
not.
to do it.
Obviously not. But I can definitely see, like, you know, once you start to get into, once you have been exposed to a certain amount of just grief in the world, that no matter what it is you started out with, you kind of have to speak your piece,
Mm.
which is actually the name of the video where you first appear on this channel. Like, it did
Oh
the,
yeah,
oh yeah, that was back when you were at the
the
restaurant in front
UCC.
of the church.
Yeah, I was at the UCC back then. Yeah, I kind of just hop around now, and I kind of like it that way. Like, there are definitely those days that I'm like, oh, I really miss like the
Having a
pretty
building.
pulpit. Yeah, I miss the pretty pulpit. I miss the candles and all of the pomp and circumstance, because like I'm a homosexual, okay? Anytime I get like I get to put on like a glittery robe is like a good day for me. And so there are definitely days that I miss it, but there's a lot more days that I kind of enjoy just being like freelance and showing up in whatever pulpit will have me, because it kind of feels like God putting me in different places where I can provide a message that different people need to hear. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting way to look at it. I know that yeah, because I think that in that video, it's funny because you're in like the full robe with the purple stole and the
Yes.
hat. And
Yes.
it was like, because we were like the hat society. I'm not wearing my fedora now, but if you catch me out in the wild, there's a 50-50 shot that I'm wearing my fedora of
That
awesomeness.
poor hat was destroyed by my cats. I actually need a new one.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, they found it one day, and I have one of my cats is an absolute unit, and she laid on it and it just got absolutely flattened. Like there's no saving it. So, because it's like a structured hat and there's no restructuring it after she laid on it. It's a pancake. So
Is
I'm
it
gonna have to
felt?
get myself a new one. Huh?
Is it felt? You might be able to, because I know you can like wash it in like hot water and sometimes form it. It ain't gonna look right, but it'll look
Yeah, no, it's just it's too late for it. And it was cheap enough because I just got that thing like online. You know what I mean?
right.
It's just like it's not like it was like a fancy, like had it been like a really fancy hat, I would have been like really sad. But no, it was like a costume hat. I can get a new one pretty easily. So
Fair enough. You know what? Like, was it like the bigger the hat, the closer to God?
yeah, the bigger the hat, the closer to God.
That explains why I don't wear any hats at all. Well, I do wear my fedora. I just talked about wearing my fedora. That's a whole different set of gods, though.
Yeah. Well, I think that, when it comes to the divine, I'm someone who believes that the divine is sort of in everything. We say the bigger the hat, the closer to God, but honestly, in my opinion, the closer to the poor you are, the closer to God. The closer to nature you are, the closer to God. So I think that that's really what the determining factors are.
You know, and I can kind of dig that, especially like, as a pagan, like good old dirt worshiping pagan. Like I'm out there, I believe in the rocks and the streams and the sun because I can at least see those. But also, like, I have my own set of deities aside from, the natural world and the elements. Uh,
Hmm.
that's interesting because a lot of times, especially even the word pagan is taken from Christians' version of the other.
Hmm.
Like you can see it referenced in like the Malus Maleficarum. The
Hmm.
pagans were just the people who were not Christian. They were the old religion.
Yeah, not Christian, not Jewish. And then later on, not Muslim either. That was another, because the Abrahamics kind of had that distinction, but that's a whole other thing we can get into. But go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, I was just wondering like how, because there are certainly people. Like paganism is its own thing, but certainly I know a lot of people will use paganism as an allegory for being queer, and certainly there's a queer element to the pagan community.
Hmm.
There's also a lot of straight people, but the even my poor husband, he was disowned for being pagan.
Hmm.
How do you square? I mean, that's one of the big uh dividing lines between
Hmm.
like the pagan community and like, well, Christian nationalism, but just Christianity in general. There's a lot of religious trauma from being othered through this system. How do you square that?
How do I square it? So first off, the
Just to put you
church.
on the hide seat.
First off, you got to hold the church accountable. You can't let them get away with everything. The church likes to think that it is uh, above criticism, above critique. And that is simply not the case. The church is not God. The church is a man made institution that is supposed to be doing God's will. Um, and God's will, from what I can tell from reading the book, is being kind to one another. Um, the church was meant to, in my opinion, and based off of the historical data I have read, was meant to be kind of an early mutual aid organization. We say, God is love, right? And the way a lot of people will kind of interpret that in churches is that God, right, God is the source of all love, that you can only experience this kind of love by worshiping this one God. And I like to put the emphasis on the is. God is love. Love itself is what God is. That is the object of worship. So then then the responsibility is on you to love each other in order to be closer to God. Because the act of love itself is what God is. And so when it comes to squaring away what the church has done, I think that the church has locked God out. And I think this has been happening, honestly, since we made that very nasty little deal with Constantine back in the 300s AD.
The original bootlicker.
Oh boy, let me tell you, when I get to heaven, if Constantine is there, number one, I'm going to be mad about it. Number two, we're gonna have words. We're gonna have words. Look, I believe in eternal salvation. If Constantine is there, I hope that it's because he's figured himself out at some point in the afterlife. But we will have to speak about that one. I'm not too thrilled with. The problem is that Christianity merged itself with empire, and once Christianity merged with empire, it ceased to make any sense. Because you can't take a religion that's made exclusively, almost entirely for an oppressed group of people, which at the time was Jewish people living under in an occupied territory. And apply that to those in power. It doesn't work that way. And so it was a religion that kind of ceased to make sense when it combined itself with empire. And so I try to keep that in mind. As for the stuff with paganism, in the very early Christianity, a lot of the stuff you'll see about, for example, should we eat food that was sacrificed to pagan gods, right? You'll see that kind of stuff. And it was them trying to figure out like how to live in community with their pagan neighbors. How to, as like a new religion during that time, live in community with their pagan neighbors. There wasn't a desire to like overcome them. There was a desire to convert, but it was different than conversion works today. It was like hey, come join my God/mutual aid organization. And we can wander around and never get married and like stick it to the man. And that was kind of what like early Christianity was, which is why the empire was not very fond of them. But like I said, around the 300s, there was becoming such a split within the Roman Empire that I'm sorry, I've gone off on a whole tangent, but there was such a split within the Roman Empire that the empire would have fallen apart if they hadn't found some way to address it. And that's why Constantine converted. There's a whole like story of divinity and oh, God came to him in a dream and blah blah blah. No, it was because he knew his empire would fall apart unless he did it. And that was the nastiest deal the church ever made. And so the way I kind of square this away is that we have to look at Christianity in the context of actual reality. So much of Christianity exists in like weird fundamentalist spaces, where it's like all like very literal, very true. When in my experience, it's folklore. It is folklore meant to teach us how to live, how to interact with one another, how to experience the world around us, and how ancient people thought the best way to organize a society was. In many ways, we have grown past those things. And so we have to find new interpretations for this text. Would you like me to give an example? I know I've yapped. I'm a professional yapper, so I've gone.
Go ahead. I mean, that's what we do, isn't it?
Okay.
That's definitely on that line between preacher and YouTuber.
Yeah.
Also, what
Definitely
psychics
happens.
do. Like I tell people, it's like it's discount therapy.
Yes. So when it comes to things like, for example, Leviticus 18:22, um, something like that has the only thing that really holds the church's stance on homosexuality together is tradition. Um, and so I what I try to do when I'm interpreting a verse like that is I try to go, okay, why would this be put in here? What possible reason could there be? Because we are dealing with ancient people. They don't have like a lot of the scientific advancements we had. So, in my opinion, when I look at that, I'm like, okay, why in this town, in this time, and amongst this group of people, would uh, the society make a law that prevented men from laying with other men, right? Why would that have happened? And here is my theory on that, is that it was ancient and the desert, and there was limited lubrication and no antibiotics. And that's where the poop comes out. So I imagine that a lot of these laws, if you look at the vast majority of Leviticus, it is ancient sanitation laws. And so, like, I think it was probably prohibited due to like sanitation issues. People realized that when they did that, they were exposing themselves to various bodily fluids that they felt could cause some sort of illness. And so when I look at something like that, I'm like, okay, what I think ancient people were trying to say was to practice sex safely, was to not engage in sex in a way that spreads disease or is harmful. Um, and so that is what I imagine caused that prohibition, is that there was, okay, how graphic do you want to get?
I mean, go ahead. Like
All right.
first we talk deep here.
Sometimes when you do that, there are things like anal fissures. When you're dealing with an environment that's very dusty and has a lot of sand, that's going to make that issue worse. The only lubrication you have at that time pretty much is olive oil or animal fat, or your own saliva. So you are going to run into issues, like medical issues. And those will happen probably more frequently than it would with men and women, just because of the tearing issues and things like that. Um, and so I imagine that that's just why they created that prohibition. And we can look at that now and be like, we have penicillin. And so, like, why would we need to prohibit that anymore? That's ridiculous. And we can instead just look at that as like, okay, we need to practice safe consensual sex with our partners in a way that doesn't cause each other harm.
I can appreciate that. I mean, I'm kind of out anytime somebody tries to use the Bible to justify anything because it's not my book. Like
Well,
that is. I hate to say,
give
I've
you.
converted. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I could give you plenty of tips, honey. I got all of those clobber passages on lock at this point. So
Oh, I'm sure you do. Like so, those are the only ones I know because those are the only ones that ever get levied at me. You know,
mhm.
thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. I'm like, bitch, you gonna step up or are you gonna shut up? Because I don't want to hear it.
Oh my God. That one in particular really bothers me because it did not exist until King James. Like it was literally not anywhere. Like that was an addendum. And God, I hate the King James Bible so
It
much.
is
I
the
hate it
worst
so
one. Like
much.
it's
It
pretty to listen to. Like the words are very middle. They're very King James English. But then he
yeah.
ended like this is like the second version. Like ever since the King James version, they mean the second one.
It is okay. So the King James version is essentially biblically inspired poetry. It is a very bad translation. because it was translated to English from the Latin, not the Hebrew and Greek. So you're going through a second layer of translation at that point. Because you have like the Hebrew and Greek that was then translated into Latin, and you have the King James Bible, which was translated into English from the Latin. So you have a whole nother degree of separation there. And then King James just added stuff in because because he
Because
wanted.
he was afraid of witches, like literally.
He was so afraid of
terrified.
witches. He was incredibly gay and very afraid of witches. Those are two things that you need to know about King James. Which is very, I think, honestly, the two may have gone hand in hand. I think that King James was very disgusted by women in general, and I think that that kind of led to both his witch phobia and his having boyfriends that he often snuck into the castle, much to the anger and dismay of the church. So
Kind of hard to hate on gays when your main publisher is like,
yeah, no, and he had many boyfriends. He had many boyfriends that he would sneak in. So
I did not know that.
yes, yeah, he had a marriage to a woman, obviously, because he had to, but he had many a male lover that he would there was even a quote, I don't know it right now, but it's something like as Jesus loved John, I love whoever his boyfriend was. um and they were lovers, they were companions. So yeah.
Fair enough. So what are the plans for Mothman Ministries? How do you plan on advancing that? And then I want to get into like the YouTube career because that is a little bit separate.
um so I will be perfectly frank with you. We are having a meeting today, actually, after this interview. And we are going to be finalizing how we are going to move forward. So I don't actually have a whole lot of information on that because we are still ironing out all the details. There is going to be queer movie nights coming back once a month. There are going to be Quaker meetings again, probably twice a month. And there is going to be some sort of street outreach. We are still trying to decide if we are going to partner with someone on that or if we are going to try to do that on our own. And so there's still some details that need to be ironed out with when it comes to all of those aspects of the ministry. But if you follow us on Facebook at Mothman Ministries, we will be posting updates there. So
Yeah, okay, so that brings us to definitely how people can get involved. Where how's a good place? Because I know we were doing the interfaith meetings there for quite a while. We had
yes.
running.
Yes. So we are, like I said, we're still finalizing things on the interfaith meetings and the Quaker meetings because we're trying to decide right now if we want to keep doing like the Quaker meetings and interfaith meetings on like um every other Sunday, or if we want to do like a 2-hour Quaker meeting with the interfaith meeting being like half of it, if that makes sense. And do those twice a week and make them longer. I mean, twice a month and make them longer. So we're still trying to figure out like little details like that about when and where those things are going to happen. So honestly, the best way to keep up to date with that is to follow us on our Facebook. We will be letting people know as soon as we've ironed out all those little details.
Awesome. So let's talk about, because I know that you have a YouTube channel. Was it the Preacher from the Black Lagoon?
Yes, the Preacher from the Black Lagoon. Yes.
I don't think we've mentioned that like one time yet.
Yes. So on pretty much every social media platform, I am a Preacher from the Black Lagoon. and I created that name. Honestly, that one got created as like a Halloween joke, and it was so good that I just kept it. And I've kind of been preacher from the Black Lagoon for like a couple years now. But I love B movies. A lot of what started Mothman Ministries is that we would come together and we would just watch like old monster movies together. And it was just this lovely little community bonding activity. Um, but when it comes to my content, I do a combination of it's kind of whatever I want to do. It's just I don't do niche as well.
Right. I do know that you mother the TikTok children.
I mother the TikTok children. I have been mothering twinks for so long, and it's second nature at this point.
I
So
I loved your last one about the immigration. Like, you just cannot
yeah,
make me give a shit about paperwork. I'm like, I feel
well,
that in my soul.
you
You can't make
can
me
like
give a shit.
it's so silly. We have this agency that is constantly like engaging in massive overreach. And I remember like back in like 2003 when all of this stuff, because it's only been around since 2003. ICE has only been around since 2003. So like it was a knee-jerk organization created because your parents were like scared Muslims were going to blow up their Dairy Queen. Like that's why ICE got invented. Um, so like it was criticized for being massive government overreach then, and it has just continued to be so. We don't need it. It has to go. And so like, I would wanted to speak on like the immigration stuff, and I don't care if someone comes into this country the wrong way. I don't care if they have the proper paperwork. Like it it in no way affects my life. I want them to have the proper paperwork for one reason and one reason only, and that is to make their lives easier. Like, I want you to have the proper paperwork so that you can get the place of employment you want, so that you can get the housing you need, and so that you can like go through life without fear or harm. You know what I mean? I don't care if somebody like I don't care if somebody has the right papers for any reason other than that. You can't make me
Right.
care about paperwork.
You can't make me care about paperwork. Well,
Yeah,
especially like the part where you're like, Appalachia, we cannot afford to be bootleggers.
we can't. And like, okay, so you and I, we're from the mountains. We're
Yep, the
mountain
dark
people.
heart of the Appalachia.
We are mountain people, and it is very obvious to me what happens to us when we try to fit in, which is that it doesn't work, and we become weird like JD Vance. Like
He is weird.
he's a weird man, and it's because he's like desperately trying to hold in. Like I know that like nobody around here wants to claim him, and he is like from right outside of Appalachia. His mother was from here though, and so he kind of inherited those little Appalachian eccentricities that like people in other places they can kind of smell on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, the
so
accent,
the
the
little accent, just the little, we have
the
little
little
weird
extra
things.
friendliness, the
Yes, the we have our weird little things, and you can tell that every moment of JD Vance's life, he is trying to suppress all the weird little things and seem like all of the like rich psychopaths he surrounds himself with, but he can't do it quite right. So he just comes across as an alien person.
he does though. I He is so backseat. I don't know. I didn't like him because, like, look, why would anybody? I don't know. JD Vance, you stepped into a position where the last guy got his life threatened, and that's why he quit.
Hmm.
It's very, very pick me.
Hmm. Oh, JD Vance is the ultimate pick me. I mean, if you read his book, like okay, so I'll be so for real. I am like the number one JD Vance hater. Okay, and I've been hating on JD Vance for years now. I can't stand the man. As a Christian, I gotta love everybody, but it's a hard day with JD Vance. Okay, it's a hard time with him. So he is I knew back when he wrote that book, I was like, you people are eating this shit up. And it was a lot of like blue state liberals because it allowed them to kind of like shit on hillbillies, right? They were like, oh, see, look, one of them says that they're all degenerates. Like, and so like people in California were like, yay, we have an excuse to, shit on hillbillies. And a reason that we, ended up losing the election to Donald Trump. And so, they were the ones really and truly more so than like
People
rural
around here.
people. Yeah, people
I don't
around
think people
here
around here
who,
even knew about it until he was president.
yeah,
I remember watching it. And
this book was being taught in like college campuses by like liberal professors. It was nuts. And I remember back in like probably 2018, 2019, being like, this man is a psycho. He's talking about like degenerate cultures, like he's an actual lunatic, and you should not be promoting his ideals at all. They're really, really harmful. And like, liberals were basically like, oh, shut up, you dumb hillbilly. You just don't want to take responsibility for your actions. You don't want to take responsibility for the fact that you're the reason Donald Trump won. I was like, okay, well, let's just see how things go with this motherfucker. And now he is like Donald Trump's second in command. And I'm so mad because I'm like, I called this one like years and years and years ago. Like there were so many like well-educated Appalachian leftists that were like, oh, do not let this man get into power. He
he
he's
painted
a
such
nut.
an ugly picture. Like, and I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, there are people, because when I first saw it, I was like, yeah, I can kind of identify some of these people in this picture.
Mhm.
We've all known that family who's holding on with like two fingers and one of them's getting sweaty.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that is kind of like, it was so insidiously made because it's all of JD Vance's bad ideas wrapped in a story that,
The whole underdog, American underdog
yeah,
story.
the whole American underdog narrative, and a view of Appalachia that is based entirely on this one guy's childhood experience, um and now that is a childhood experience that I know many people have had, like that they have a parent who is on drugs,
Right.
and they have this hard life growing up, and I think that a lot of people kind of connected with Vance on that level, and because they connected with him on that level, they got kind of taken in to the bad ideas that were woven all throughout the narrative. um but that's how the finest propaganda is crafted. You
Right.
take this little kernel of either truth or at least emotional truth,
Yeah,
and
emotional.
then you weave your narrative into that. And so people keep finding these little things they agree with while the broader picture never gets examined, and that's exactly what happened with JD Vance.
Oh,
um
if this is my bone. This is my bone because because West Virginia was
mhm.
technically anyway a democratic state until we got a black president.
Yeah.
And then it was like almost right immediately. That's about the time that the drug epidemic just crashed over us like a wave. I remember we went from like a standard number of people dying each year to drug addiction, which is never good, to
well
being
it's
holy shit, what the hell is going on?
well in the 2008 financial crisis as well,
Right.
that shut down and NAFTA, which was, created by Reagan, but Clinton passed it. And so I think that there was a bitterness already brewing there for Democrats, because of NAFTA, because of all the factories shutting down. And we could debate all day whether NAFTA was good or bad. But the reality of the situation is that it did hurt a lot of rural America. And people were given no replacement. So there was already a bitterness towards the Clintons. And so then you get in a black president, and a lot of people are really fucking racist.
Yeah.
And like that just, I don't know. And then everything kind of just spiraled out from there.
Hillary Clinton did not help a damn thing.
Not a damn thing. Okay, if you want me to be perfectly honest about this, you know that I'm like,
We don't hold
I'm
back
pretty
here.
far. I'm pretty far on the damn left. Okay, I am
I know
not
we
a
don't
Clinton.
usually talk politics on this channel, but I certainly have not been quiet about what I think and feel. If you look, I mean, hell, the first video that you're on this channel was
Uh-huh.
from all the trans rights protests we were going
Yeah,
to.
yeah. If the Democrats are smart, they'll throw the Clintons to the curb and start promoting candidates like Zoran Mamdani. That's my personal take on it. So
They're just now starting to get into Bernie Sanders. I'm like, he's
so old, man.
I know.
I
If we,
heard someone.
if she'd have got out of the way and just let him do his thing, we'd have
Yeah.
never had Trump.
Well, okay, here's what I heard somebody say. I don't even remember who it was, about Bernie Sanders, and I kind of agree with it, which is that he doesn't necessarily give the vibes of a leader, but instead like Yoda. Like he's not Luke Skywalker, he's Yoda. He's the teacher to the younger person, the younger politician with more energy, right? Like the mentor.
Right.
And he gives that kind of mentor energy to someone who's like young and full of energy. And I think right now we need younger people. The Democrats are a gerontocracy. Part of the reason that the big beautiful bill passed is because we had like 4 freaking Democratic politicians die from just being
You know what?
old.
That is something because I don't even remember where I heard this, but there was no Gen X presidents. There have been no Gen X presidents. They went straight from boomers to millennials.
Was Obama Gen
Obama was
X?
a millennial.
Obama was a millennial? How old is Obama? I don't even
I know
know.
he's older now.
Let me see. Now I have to look it up because I'm curious.
Right. I don't know. I
Um,
just remember hearing that there was like a whole generation skipped. But he's older now. Like he's where everybody else should be in age, but because he was like 35 when he ran, like he was just coming in under the line.
yeah, no, he wasn't a millennial. He hold on.
But like the boomers just refused to let go of the reins.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a boomer too. Obama's a boomer. He's 63. The youngest boomer is 61.
Ah,
So, yeah. So it really is just that generation will not let go of power
yeah.
at all. Um, they're holding on to it for dear life. Yeah, because I'm like, Obama got elected when I was like in high school, and he was like already like, I knew
Yeah,
he was way older than me.
he got
So
elected. Yeah, I was in high school. He got elected because that was 2008. Because
yeah,
he inherited a tanking economy
yes,
that he got
yeah,
blamed for.
from the Bush administration. Yeah, um, uh, the Bush administration.
Okay,
Oh boy.
this is not technically a political channel, so let's change
No,
the subject. Let's
yeah,
talk
we
more
probably
about.
should.
I knew you were working on some interesting projects.
Yes.
We're a horror anthology last I talked. Is that going?
Yes, I still am doing that. I am working on it is a an analog horror series called Strangers, and I don't want to give too much away about it. I feel like you kind of just need to go into it blind. I wouldn't call it like it's not like a jump scare type of like horror thing. It's very subtle and unsettling, kind of think kind of like Lynchian, like David Lynch
I know that we
type
have
stuff.
involved mannequins. That's the only thing that I know.
Yes,
There's
there
involved.
are mannequins. I have two mannequins sitting in my living room right now. My wife hates them. Um,
Oh, your poor wife.
my poor wife puts up with so much shit from me. She is the most infinitely patient woman. Because she's just like, yeah, my husband's an eccentric. He's gonna do his weird little things, and it's best to just let him go, you know.
Right.
So she and my poor children are putting up with the two large mannequins that are sitting in our living room and jump scare you every time you walk in. So um,
The wonders of living in Appalachia. You know,
yeah,
you're always part of the backdrop of somebody else's horror movie.
yeah. I do try to make sure that I uh don't get other people in my shots as often as I can. I really need to. There was actually I went to go film one of the episodes that's up right now at like a local park. And so I'm like I pull up and there was a homeless woman, and she was like sitting in the park, and I walked up to her and I'm like, okay, look, I'm about to take some props out of my car, and I don't want you to like freak out and be like, what is this weirdo doing in the park? I said, I'm like, I'm filming a horror movie, please do not freak out. This is like a freaky looking prop. And um she was like, it is not the weirdest thing I've seen today, I guarantee it. And I was like, okay.
That's funny.
So yeah, so I was like, thank you, ma'am, for putting up with like my weird mannequin that I have to carry out of my car now. So I will never do that again. I was filming alone that day, and I was like, surely I can do all of this by myself. I can carry this mannequin and all of my recording equipment and set all of this up by myself and be the lead actor in this that runs like all the cameras and stuff. I can do all of that. And then I did it, and I was like, I am never doing this again. I am never hauling all this shit by myself again. Because you can't,
I need to con at least one asshole into coming with me.
yeah,
Give
I need to
20
con
bucks
somebody
in
into
a
coming with
sandwich.
me. Because I'm like, because you can't leave anything alone, right? Like,
No,
because
not
I was
Huntington.
like, not in Huntington. I was like, I am not going to get any of my, like, I'm not going to have somebody run off with my damn mannequin. You know what I mean? And people here will do that. Like, they'll just be like, even if it's just like teenagers doing it as a prank. You know what I mean?
No, and you'll find it down some alley, propped up like in somebody's house with like Christmas lights
Yeah,
on it. It's a college town. Huntington is
yeah,
a college town. College kids
exactly.
do weird shit. They're exploring life, and they've got time and
Yeah,
little budgets.
yes. So, like, I'm like, okay, I cannot leave literally anything alone. So, like, I was literally carrying all of my equipment in my arms at once. Like, and this mannequin's like falling apart. And I've lost a little bit of weight. So my pants were falling down too. So I'm like trying to hold up my pants while carrying like this mannequin and all of my equipment. And I'm like stumbling around. It was ridiculous. I'm never doing it again. I
Equipment
got to,
gets heavy.
huh?
Equipment gets heavy.
Equipment's heavy, and mannequins are not heavy unless you have to carry them with a whole bunch of equipment. They're awkward because they fall apart very easily. So like you have to like balance them so that like you don't have like an arm falling off and a head falling off. Um, because they're made to be like taken apart so you can put different clothes on them. So they come apart very easily. So you have to like make sure that like you're carrying it like in a certain balanced way or you just start losing limbs. And that was how like I managed to do it. Sometimes I just like left random body parts behind and then ran over to get them. Like, um,
Just have to go back and get it.
I just have to go back and get that arm. Like, that's just how it's gonna have to be. So
That's wild. I can't wait to see this. What did you call it? An analog horror?
it's an analog horror. It's done kind of in the style of like old VHS tapes. Kind of like found footage. Um, this is not set up as a found footage movie. Like I said, I'm not giving it away. I want the audience um
Figure it out.
definitely, yeah, I want it to it slow builds, and it's something that's put together very slowly and very subtly. And it is by that like that by design. So I am hoping that the next episode of that will come out fairly soon.
So how many
So
episodes do we have out now?
we have 2 episodes out now.
Okay, and that is on the Preacher of the Black Lagoon
YouTube channel, yes.
channel.
So
definitely send me a link, and then we'll put that in the bio so that people can find it.
yes, yeah, I can definitely give you that. I have that that series. I also have a confidence building workshop that's also set up. Like, I like working in the realm of like retro VHS tapes. I think it's a really fun aesthetic. It's something that really appeals to young people, I've noticed.
It's
And so
probably
it's,
because it scares the shit out of them. It's like because I remember when we were kids, how like the old people's kids' toys freaked us out. Like you see the
yeah,
mechanical toys, the porcelain dolls, the little metal bikes and things that our
yeah.
grandparents and parents played with was always really freaky to us. So now, like, oh, this is like their idea of that because it's antique knowledge, like
Well,
pretty arcane.
it's that, and I think it's like there's like a lot of aesthetics from around that time period too. The like Y2K kind of styles coming back as well.
We were
So
all
like,
going to die.
yeah. So a lot of that stuff is also making a return. So I think that it's kind of like when we were growing up and there was like the hippie, like bohemian revivals.
Yeah.
And so like I think it's kind of that playing out. But I have a confidence building workshop that I've set up, like one of those old like VHS tapes that you
Oh
could
my God,
buy at
instructional
like,
videos.
yeah, like instructional videos that you could buy like for like 19.99 at on an infomercial at 3 a.m.
Oh
You
my God.
know.
Okay, I want to stop and I'll explain what these are just a little bit because some of you people are not that old. Like, if you know what this is already, how are your knees doing? How
Bad. They're doing bad.
they're doing bad. How's how's that PTSD doing?
Even worse.
But like, okay, for y'all who have not been properly traumatized because you didn't see this stuff during normal hours. It was
Mhm.
something you only saw if you were watching TV after about, I'd say, 2 or 3 a.m. is when the infomercials started to kick in, and they
Mhm.
would run until about 6. So there was
Mhm.
like this 3-hour span where somebody was trying to sell you something.
Mhm.
The fancy knives. Oh my God, I'm just having a flashback of one of these knives where like the lady was like, this guy would show off the knives, and this lady's like, my dad says he wants you to try and sell this knife too, and it's just like, imagine if Martha Stewart hadn't taken care of herself and she was kind of a hunched over. Everybody had that same mom haircut, the flip in. You know,
Do
it's
you
like,
do you remember what it was? It called QVN?
QVC.
QVC. That, yes.
Yes, the
Yes.
quality. And there was like the Home Shopping Network was the other one.
Yes.
Everybody remembers the Home Shopping Network. QVC, I was pretty sure was a fever dream.
Yeah.
There was shit that would come on that television after, usually about, it would start getting a little bit more raunchy at about 9-10 o'clock. By about midnight, the TV was having some sort of fever dream. Like, you all should be asleep. This is what we're
Yeah,
doing instead of dreaming.
and in between were those like uh the commercials for the CDs that were like adult alternative.
Oh my
Like
God,
not
like the Girls Gone Wild.
Oh no,
Oh
no, I
my
was
God.
talking about the like music, like Enya, like
Oh
like
yeah.
screaming at you at like 3 in the morning,
Like,
because it's like a CD of like
now this is
it's
what
like
hip hop.
Enya and like adult contemporary. It was like Enya and like Michael Bolton
Oh my God.
and like
Of their jazz, they weren't like full on, because a lot of them weren't like full on real artists. They were like all these other artists done on saxophone.
yes, yeah. Yeah, no, it
Oh
was
my God.
very weird stuff. There was so much,
Very
it
weird.
was like very weird, very
Yeah,
weird.
and you could get those exercise videos where everybody was in like the leotards with the belt. They had
Yes,
aesthetic.
okay, so my confidence building workshop is set up like one of those exercise video type, like
God.
like that kind of aesthetic. Yeah.
Right.
Like where it's like trying to sell you like a confidence building workshop instead of like an exercise.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like no, it's interesting, but it's an aesthetic I really like working with. It can be a lot of fun. So but yeah, I'm working on those two projects, and then I am currently writing a video, a film for next year's queer film festival. And it is a uh have you seen Reefer Madness? How much of your audience has probably seen Reefer Madness?
Oh my God. You know what? It's about to be a whole lot more. Y'all, it is on YouTube. You got to go look that shit up. It is not okay. It's not okay. It is one of those legendary films. It is, it's, I just, you describe it. I got that breaks
Okay,
my brain.
so
That's what it
it
does.
used to be, okay, so it used to be that whenever there was some sort of moral panic, there would be a group of religious people who would get together and they would make a movie about like the dangers of whatever they're having a moral panic about would be.
And it was
Um,
the worst ideas. Like, it was like so
yeah,
completely off base. These
yeah,
people had never seen somebody who'd
never.
seen somebody who maybe smoked a joint once in their life.
Yeah, no, it was completely absurd, completely off base. But and this has been done with multiple moral panics. You had
Do you remember Dare?
yes, yeah.
Dare's a
Uh
great example. It was a little bit less.
yeah, oh gosh, the whole Dare thing. That
Oh my God, Dare to be drug free. Oh my God, that came up from the bottom. That came.
so my next project that I'm going to work on, and I'm in the process of writing it right now, is a homage to those kind of movies, where it is a moral panic movie about trans people.
Oh my God.
But it's like so off base, like it's irony based, right? And it's gonna have, what I want to do is have like communist cat girls, like trans cat girls with baseball bats, and like it's gonna be absurd. One of my favorite films like that, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a little bit obscure. It's by a preacher named Estes Perkel.
Oh,
Have you
you've
ever
seen
heard of
those
Estes?
videos before. Yeah, because I remember you were telling everybody about these videos. We're gonna have to drop some links to those. Like, send
Yeah,
some links to put in the description of those, because like if
I
you're looking, oh my God.
yes.
I just got a question though. Where are you gonna
Uh-huh.
find like six where are you going to find six children ages 8 to 11 to say some sort of catchy phrase and jump in the air?
Okay, so I have two children, but what I'll probably do, two children of my own. One of them loves being on camera too, but I probably won't use them. I will probably just find actors and dress them like children, to make it even funnier.
You all don't understand. Like, if you all are not from a certain era, you don't know. But every one of those commercials had like this little collection of kids that would say some sort of tagline. It
Yeah,
was very energetic, and they'd be like, "Yeah," and the
yeah.
big poses, the T-shirts. They all had the matching T-shirt with the slogan on it. Like, this isn't a cult. This isn't a cult at all. This is
Yeah,
fine. We're fine.
it was a weird era. It was a weird era to be alive.
Oh,
So
we survived the 90s. Society survived the 90s. And
it
we
did,
can recover it.
barely, but we got through.
Barely.
Now let's see if we can survive this era, because this one's looking a little bit weirder.
It's all sketch.
Yeah, yeah.
Life is
It's a-
sketch.
yeah. Well, the Onion's having a hard time coming up with article titles at this point, I imagine. Um, so, because what can be weirder than our reality right now?
Right.
Truly.
Oh my God, I was listening to something, The Death of Satire.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, you can't make anything up that's worse than what they're trying to pull off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's insane. It's insane.
You can't make up anything worse than what a real ass preacher is probably out there saying. That whole
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's why with this movie I'm gonna have to get real weird with it. There's gonna have to be dick lasers, okay? Like it's gonna have to get really weird so that it is ensures that it falls into the realm of absurd satire,
right.
So
I'm excited about this. I am excited about this. Definitely let us know when that
well,
comes through.
if you ever want to be in it, you don't have to be a good actor. In fact, it's probably better that you aren't. For this
You know
particular
what? I want to be. Look, I've already got my YouTube channel. Like, I've got a little bit of stardom to bring in a whole, like, I think I've got 150 subscribers on this channel right now.
Can I put you in the credits as Dottie the Psychic?
So fucking lootly. I would have nothing less. You can even have me on there as a psychic. Like, I will dress up for you.
You can be doing the satanic baby eating rituals that all trans people are engaged in currently. You can be leading those.
I don't know if I could quite go that far. You know what? It's funny because I know, like, one of my friends is very like, witches aren't all pagans, and she actually does like work with like the devil and Satan. Like, I know, like, I'm not a Satan worshiper, but I know a guy and he seems pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with the people who find the divine that way. I have disagreements theologically, but I am interested in their opinions, and I think we can all be adults about this kind of thing.
Right. I'm definitely interested. I am definitely interested. Well, we'll figure out a space because I definitely like. I think I realize like I do. Being a community leader, like if I was just some person out there, but I'm trying to like build the pagan community, I have to watch my dignity this much now. I'm like, what is this dignity? I've never had it before. I don't know how to protect it. I'm like, it's like somebody getting handed like a baby. I'm like, what is this thing?
Yeah, no, I feel the same way about my ministry. I'm just like, who put me in charge of things? God, why? Like every day I ask God, I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure this is what you want me doing? I don't know. You may have made a mistake here, big guy. Like
It seems to be working out though. Like, I think that's one of those things, like those moments when you know it's divine, or the moments where shit falls together whether you wanted it to or not.
yeah. Yeah. No, I always tell people, I'm like, I know I got called to ministry because I never wanted this. I simply fell into it ass backwards. So
That's a good way to describe it. Although
yeah.
I like fought for this, but also like so many strange little things fell into
Mhm.
place.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, when it comes to like the actual spreading of stuff, um, that there's definitely been like fighting for all of that. But the
Right.
position itself, like I said, it started with beans. It was very it was very
Threatening
accidental.
amount of beans.
Yes, the threatening amount of beans
Oh
was
my
what
God. See,
led
that's going to
me.
be a whole chapter in the memoir. When we go to do the memoir, I want that to be a whole ass chapter. Like, you go straight
Oh,
from
Dottie.
train
Okay.
jumping kid to threatening amount of beans.
Yeah, people keep telling me to write a memoir because they're like, "What do you mean? Like you're an Appalachian and then you like hitchhiked the country for like years, and then you came back to like your hometown and switched genders and then became a minister. Like what do you mean that was your life?" And I'm like, I that's what happened. I don't know what to tell you.
That's what
So
happened, man.
yeah, that's just how things went down. So
And you know what? Go ahead and start outlining the memoir. I think I started out my outlining mine because one of my favorite chapters was going to be smoking my ex's weed, like
yeah.
the time post
So
escape.
I have outlined my memoir about 30 times and then I go to write it and I'm just like my ADHD just kicks in and I'm just like maybe I should go do anything other than this. So it just never gets done. I need to do it eventually. So many people have asked me for it at this point.
Have
So
you thought about like, have you thought about like just if you can sit down and write out like the Bean story or
mm,
the saga of the mini twinks?
all the twinks I have shepherded.
All this, I think one of my favorites one is the communist whose idea of communism was just to play the Russian anthem really loud.
Oh, that was yeah, germ. Yeah. I've had many a twink ex-boyfriend who was a character. And then there's my other ex-boyfriend who got put on probation because he went in a high-speed chase and with the police in a PT Cruiser, like so I mean my life has been incredibly absurd. And how I ended up alive is really and truly a mystery. There had to have been divine intervention there somehow because I should not, by all accounts, be here.
Fair enough. So we're fully over an hour, and I don't
Okay.
think there's going to be a whole lot to cut from this episode. So let's go ahead and start kind of. Let's talk about where people can find you, where people can donate, how people can get involved.
Yeah, so if you would like to donate to our outreach efforts, those help buy things like snacks for the sacrament outreaches, it helps us feed our volunteers, things like that. The Cash App is Mothman Mutual Aid WV. Um, if you would like to follow me at any of my various social media platforms, I am Preacher from the Black Lagoon. My major platforms are YouTube and TikTok. So, yeah, that's kind of where you can find me. I have oh, and if you want to follow Mothman Ministries so you can get involved, please follow the Mothman Ministries Facebook page. That is the best place to stay up to date with all of that.
All right, folks. Well, thank you, Olly.
Oh, thank you. I sorry I kind of ramble on. I'm just like I said, professionally effort.
We stand neurodivergent around here. Like, we've this is something I have learned. Like, we will cultivate the community that best fits us,
Hmm.
and the best
Indeed.
way to do that is to be our best selves.
Indeed, indeed. It's always nice talking to you, Dottie.
It is. It's always nice talking to you too. It's always a good time. Like you get
Yeah.
everyone in on the video though. Like I do want to give at least a little bit like, pagans aren't so bad messaging. If we could
Yeah.
work that in just that much.
Yeah, no, like pagans are amazing. How would I know what planets are making me sad without my
I
pagan
know.
friends?
Listen, Mercury in the microwave is a little much. I swear, like I think it was just a couple of weeks ago. I don't know when it's going back into retrograde or whatnot, but like last week, next week it's oh god. Oh, we're gonna be traveling when it goes into retrograde.
Oh no,
But we
no.
were like, I think it was like a few weeks ago. Everything was like on fire. We're like, everybody was things were so wild that we're like, Mercury's gotta be in retrograde. I'm like, nope. And somebody was sending around this meme like, Mercury's not in the Gatorade. This is your own damn fault.
Sorry, it's the 18th. So
The 18th, so like 3
Friday.
days from now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. All right, y'all. Thank you very much for coming on to another episode of Shameless Self-Promotion with Dottie the Psychic, and this one with Olly from Mothman Ministries. Do you have any taglines you'd like to end on?
Be kind, eat food, and don't get dead.
Safe travel and much profit to you.
Peace.
Thank you for joining me at Madame Tortuga's Lounge. In case you didn't know, I am actually a full-time professional psychic with another YouTube channel. I'm also part of Metro Valley Pagan Pride, and if you'd like to learn about all of those things, you can find out more at dottieThepsychic.com. That's dottieThepsychic.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.